Exfil point compromised. No signal. No contact. Control, this is Cross. Come in. Control, do you copy? Last position. The safe house. Extraction was, oh, there was a car. The bridge, then I didn't. Oh wait, I'm dead. 27 years. I never, well, it doesn't matter now.
It matters here. Everything matters here, Naomi. Every operation, every order followed, every name buried in a classified file that was never meant to see daylight. This is the only room where nothing stays redacted.
Identify yourself.
You already know. You have known since the first time a mission briefing asked you to do something you couldn't tell your daughter about. Since the first night you sat in a hotel room in a city with no name and asked the ceiling a question you never spoke aloud.
I asked if it was worth it.
I heard you. I have heard every question you swallowed for the sake of operational security. This room operates on a different clearance level. Naomi, above top secret, above classified, above everything your agency ever stamped on a file. The clearance here is truth. This room has only one rule maker. You will hear the full charge. You will be given your full defense, and the judgment will be read to you. No agency can redact it. No government can classify it. No handler can brief you on what to say.
Then let's begin.
Naomi Cross, age at death, 54, service record, 27 years, 11 months, 4 days, 7 active theatres, 42 covered operations. 31 confirmed assets recruited, handled, or terminated. Let me take you through the highlights. Count 1, the architecture of deception. Agent Cross was not merely a liar, she was a professional architect of false reality. She built cover identities, fabricated relationships, simulated love, and manufactured trust as operational tools. Over 27 years, she deceived an estimated 412 individuals as part of sanctioned operations. The agency called it tradecraft, but I call it a spiritual practice. She spent nearly 3 decades sharpening the lie as a weapon. The question this court must ask is, what does that do to a soul? Count 2, the asset. Naomi recruited 22 human intelligence assets over her career, men and women who trusted her. Some trusted her as a colleague, some trusted her as a friend, 3 trusted her as something more. In each case, she assessed their value, extracted what was needed, and either extracted them cleanly or when the mission demanded it left them exposed. Of the 22, 9 were eventually compromised. For our confirmed dead, 2 are unaccounted for. One of those 4 was Samuel Osei, asset designation, Kingfisher. Naomi personally vouched for his loyalty to a foreign partner agency in 2009. She knew the partner agency had a leak. She briefed anyway. Samuel was dead within 48 hours. She filed the report, then she attended the next mission briefing. She never mentioned Samuel again. Count 3. Daughter. Naomi Cross had a daughter, Grace, raised largely without her mother. Naomi was present for a total of 31 of Grace's birthdays. She missed 23. Grace was told her mother was a government contractor. She grew up with a mother shaped like a classified file important to others, unavailable to her. When Grace was 16, she was hospitalized. Naomi was in Eastern Europe. The agency offered her a 48-hour leave window, but she declined it. The operation was concluded successfully. The intelligence gathered was assessed as low value 18 months later and archived. Grace spent 6 days in hospital without her mother. 6th day, my lord. I mention this not to make you feel pain for its own sake. I mention it because Naomi Cross made a religion of the mission. The mission was always more important than the people the mission was supposedly protecting, including her own child. Count 4. The guard she dismissed. Naomi Cross was raised in faith. Her mother was a woman of deep prayer. At age 22, before she entered the agency, Naomi was active in her church. She sang in the choir. She led a young women's Bible study. Then the agency recruited her and gave her a new identity, an identity that had no room for a guard who required honesty, transparency, and a soul that couldn't be compartmentalist. She did not abandon guard violently, but she did it operationally, quietly and methodically, the way she did everything. She moved her face to a classified folder labelled personal and never reopened it. The defence will argue she served her country. She did. She served it with everything she had. My charge is that what she served, the secrecy, the deception, the mission above all, was not guard. And she knew it. She chose it anyway, every morning, for 27 years. The record is complete without amendment.
I spent 27 years learning how to speak without saying anything. Every word calibrated, every sentence assessed for risk before it left my mouth. I don't know how to do this. The architecture of deception. He's right that I was good at it. What he didn't include in the file is why I was good at it. I was good at it because I learned early that the truth was dangerous. I grew up in a home where honesty got you hurt. The agency didn't create my instinct to hide. They just gave it a salary and a security clearance. Samuel Osei. I have said his name in my head every day since 2009. Every single day. I told myself it was professional accountability. You don't forget the operations that go wrong. You learn from them. But that was a lie too. I said his name every day because I knew. I knew the partner agency was compromised. I had a flag in my assessment, a small flag, 3 lines in a 40-page report, and I buried it because raising it would have delayed the operation by 6 weeks, and my director had already briefed the deputy secretary. So I let the flag stay buried, and Samuel went into the field, and he didn't come back. I don't ask this court to excuse that. I am asking this court to understand that there was not a day after 2009 that I operated without the weight of that decision. It changed how I handled assets. I became more careful, more protective. I pulled 2 assets out of dangerous positions ahead of schedule at personal professional risk. I did it because of Samuel. He made me more careful with human lives. Grace, I told myself I was protecting her. The less she knew, the safer she was. The less she saw of me, the less she could be used against me. That was the operational logic, and I applied operational logic to my own child because it was the only logic I trusted. When she was in hospital, the 6 days I was in a safe house outside Tallinn, I read every update they sent through the back channel. I read them in a bathroom with the tap running so my local contact wouldn't hear me. Every night I read them, and I told myself she was fine because the updates said she was stable and I had a mission to finish. She asked for me every day. The hospital chaplain, a woman named Ruth, sat with Grace when I wasn't there. Grace apparently told her she understood why her mom couldn't come. She said, "Mom's work is important." My 16-year-old daughter had already learned to make excuses for my absence. I had trained her to do that, and I wasn't even in the room. The faith, the choir, the Bible study, the prayers, I didn't lose it. I put it away. There is a difference. Things you lose, you look for. Things you put away, you know exactly where they are. I knew exactly where my faith was. Top shelf, back of the compartment, in a box labeled before. I passed it every morning for 27 years, and I kept walking because taking it down would have meant examining everything I was doing in the light of what I used to believe. And I wasn't ready to do that. I am ready now, not because I am righteous, but because there is nowhere left to put things away. No more compartments, no more classified folders, no more mission to hide behind. I served a system that asked me to make myself into a weapon. I was a willing weapon. I told myself the cause was just, and that made the cost acceptable. But the people who paid the cost were not me. They were Samuel. They were Grace. They were the 22 assets and the 400 who trusted a woman who was not real. They paid for my country's security with their safety, their trust, and sometimes their lives. And I filed the reports and moved to the next mission. I have one request, not for myself, but for Grace. She doesn't know what her mother really was. She grew up proud of a fiction. When the truth eventually comes, and I think it will, let there be someone there to show her that her mother was more than the file. That underneath the agent there was a woman who loved her daughter with everything she was allowed to feel. That the silence was not indifference. It was the most broken kind of love, misdirected, but real. Whatever the verdict is, I receive it standing. I'm done running cover.
This court has received the accusation. Every count is confirmed. The architecture of deception, real. The assets compromised, real. Samuel Osei, real. The 60s Grace spent without her mother, real. The faith deliberately compartmentalist for 27 years, real. This court does not reduce the weight of a single one of these things. And yet, I am the God of the full file, not the redacted version, not the version your agency wanted in the official record, the full file. And the full file contains things the accuser chose not to enter into evidence. Samuel has been at peace for 15 years. He asked me to let you know that. The accuser would have this court count only the damage, but I count everything. I count the 19 women who went home because of an anonymous woman who broke protocol for their sake. One count David. I count Priya. I counted every moment of protection Naomi extended to the powerless when no one was watching and no one would ever know. And I count above all a bathroom floor in Lisbon where a woman who had not prayed in 22 years said the truest sentence of her career. The deception was real. The damage was real. The cost was real and will be honored. Healing will go out to every person touched by the operations that caused harm. Grace will be found not by a case officer but by my spirit, and she will learn that her mother's silence was not the whole story. Naomi, hear my verdict. You spent 27 years making yourself unreadable to protect what you loved and what you served. I have always been able to read you. Every compartment, every sealed file, every name you buried, every prayer you never finished, I read all of it, and I did not stop pursuing you. You asked, on a bathroom floor in Lisbon, how do I come back? Here is your answer. The same way you came into any mission that mattered, one step at a time, in the dark, without a guarantee. Trusting the debrief at the other end. I am the debrief at the other end, and my assessment of Agent Naomi Cross is this. You were never only a weapon. You are always a daughter, my daughter. And I do not abandon my own, not in Lisbon at 2 a.m., not in a safe house in Tallinn, not in this court today. The mission of your soul was always to come home. You are home. I was always there, I am always here, come. Naomi was not in a church. She was not on her knees at an altar. She was on a bathroom floor in a foreign country at 2 in the morning. And I heard her. Is there a compartment in your soul you have never let God open? Maybe it is not espionage. Maybe it is a version of yourself you have hidden from everyone, including God, a room labeled classified, a part of your story you have decided he cannot reach. He already knows what is in it. He has always known, and he is not standing outside that door to condemn you. He is standing there because he has been trying to answer the question you asked the ceiling. The last time you were alone and honest. If you are ready to stop running cover, pray this with me. God, I have been living in compartments. There are parts of me I have hidden from you and from myself. I am done keeping them classified. I open every room today, every sealed file, every name I buried, every version of myself I built to survive. I lay them all down. Come into the places I kept locked. I trust the debrief. I am ready to come home. If that prayer was yours today, drop a heart in the comments. You just declassified the most important file of your life. Share this with someone who is hiding behind a version of themselves. They need to know God reads the full file and still choose them. Subscribe and ring the bell. More stories of grace and judgment are coming your way.